The signal reached the edge of the solar system just as the scout pod's warp drive began to fail. Jason Cole sat alone, hands gripping the controls, eyes fixed on the screen. The message from Elena Morris had repeated 3 times before cutting out. He had heard it. Everyone would now. Behind him, the red dot of Proxima B vanished in a flash of light. He didn't need sensors to know what had happened. The Aesir was gone. Elena was gone. But she had bought him time. His pod shook. The engine groaned. Warp field unstable. He had pushed it too hard, too long. The jump from Proxima to near Mars had taken everything the little ship had. He looked at the fuel gauge. Empty. The nav system flickered. Earth was still far. Weeks away at normal speed. But he didn't have weeks. Then, a ping. A Terran patrol ship, the USS Knight, was in orbit around Mars. It had picked up his signal. A voice came through. "Unknown pod, identify yourself." Jason took a breath. "This is Lieutenant Jason Cole. I have urgent data from Proxima B. The Cathar are back. I need immediate evac." Silence. Then, "We see your signal. You're cleared to dock. Hurry." The Knight moved into position. The pod docked with a clang. Jason opened the hatch and fell out. 2 soldiers caught him. He handed over the data. "Chip. Play it. Now." They did. The room went quiet as Elena's voice filled the air. The images of the converted, the dreadnoughts, the beacon, the fleet, everything. When it ended, the captain of the Knight looked at Jason. "Is this you real?" "I was there," Jason said. "Elena died so you could hear it." The captain didn't wait. He sent the data to Earth Command on a secure burst pulse. Then he turned to his crew. "Battle stations. We're not hiding anymore." Across the solar system, the message spread. On Earth, in the Terran High Command bunker under Geneva, General Paula Crane read the report. She had been a child during the last war. She remembered the sirens, the dark skies, the silence after. She had sworn it would never happen again. Now it was. She stood and walked to the main chamber. "Activate all defense grids," she said. "Wake every ship in dry dock. Send word to every colony. Prepare for war." "Ma'am," an officer said, "we're not ready. Half the fleet is offline. The new pilots, we don't need—" "Ready," she said. "We need fight. Now." Within hours, ships powered up. Old cruisers, forgotten fighters, even training vessels were armed and sent into orbit. The moon base began producing ammo non-stop. Mars opened its weapon vaults. Every working gun, every missile, every soldier was called in. But they were still slow. The Cathar fleet was coming, and Earth had no Titan. On the 4th day after Jason's return, the first enemy ship reached the outer belt. It destroyed a mining station near Ceres without warning. No signal, no demand, just fire. Then another came, and another. The Terran fleet met them near Jupiter. The battle was short and brutal. The USS Knight fought hard, along with 2 cruisers and a group of fighters. They used Elena's data, the Cathar weak frequency, and hit 1 dreadnought in the core. It exploded. But 3 more took its place. The fleet was pushed back. They lost 6 ships, but they had proven one thing. The Cathar could be hurt. Back on Earth, Jason stood in front of the World Council. He was weak, still healing, but he spoke. Loud. "They don't want to talk," he said. "They don't want peace. They want to replace us, like they did on Proxima B. If we wait, if we try to run, we die. But if we fight, like Elena fought, we have a chance." He held up a photo of the Aesir standing in the snow. "This machine was built to protect us. It died doing its job. We owe it to her, to all of them, to stand." The room was silent. Then, one by one, leaders from every nation stood up. The war was on. In the weeks that followed, humanity changed. Factories ran day and night. New war machines were built. Not Titans, not yet, but fast ships. smart weapons, armor for soldiers. Scientists studied the data from Proxima b. They found a way to block the Cathar signal to free the converted before they were fully taken. Small victories, but the big ships kept coming. Then, something unexpected happened. On Titan, one of the hidden beacons was found by a group of miners. They didn't wait for orders. They planted charges and blew it up. On Mars, a team of ex-soldiers used old Cathar tech to jam a scout ship's signal. It crashed into the Red Desert. People were fighting, not just the military. Everyone. And then, a new signal came from Europa. Weak, broken, but real. This is Europa Vault. System reboot. Pilot chamber active. On Earth. Jason heard it first. He ran to command. They're trying to wake another Titan. But there was no pilot. Elena had been the last. Unless they checked the files. There was one more. A backup. A woman named Claire Bennett, a test pilot from the final days of the war. She had been put in stasis, same as Elena. No one had known she survived. They found her under Europa's ice, alive, still in the pod. When she woke, they told her the truth. The Cathar were back. Humanity was fighting, and it needed her. She didn't hesitate. "Where's the Titan?" she asked. 3 days later, the second war Titan, the Fenrir, rose from the ice, bigger, faster, angrier, and this time it wasn't alone. Ships from Earth, Mars, even the outer colonies formed a line near Saturn. They waited. When the Cathar fleet came, the Fenrir led the charge. Claire piloted with fire in her eyes. Jason watched from a command ship, the data chip around his neck. The battle was loud, bright, long. But this time, humanity did not fall. This time. They answered the call. The Aesir had been the last Titan. Now, it was the first of a new war, and Earth would not go quietly. Because when the SOs came, humanity did not hide. It stood, and it fought. The sky above Proxima b was dark, but not empty. The third Cathar dreadnought had pulled back, vanishing into the clouds. It wasn't destroyed. Just waiting. Watching. Elena Morris knew it would come again. They always did. Inside the Aesir, the systems flickered. Power was down to 18%. The right arm was gone. The left leg barely worked. One rail cannon still fired, but the charge was weak. The plasma lance was offline. The Titan had fought hard, but even a war machine could break. Elena sat in the control seat, breathing slow. Her suit kept her warm, but she was tired. Not just in the body, in the mind. 52 years of sleep, and now she was back in the same fight. The same enemy, the same silence. She turned to the data chip Jason had given her. It was still working. She ran the files again. The Cathar were not just attacking, they were setting up a network. The beacon under the colony was one of many. There were others. On Mars, on Titan, near Earth's moon. If all were activated, they would link together, sending a signal strong enough to wake the entire Cathar fleet from deep space. And that fleet was huge. The files showed numbers. Over 200 ships, spread out, hidden in dead zones between stars. They had been waiting, sleeping. Now, the beacon on Proxima b had called them. Earth had maybe 10 days. She looked at the screen. No response from command, no fleet on the way. Nothing. She was alone, but not quite. She opened the hatch and climbed out. The air was cold, the ground cracked and black from fire. She walked to the rock where she had left Jason. He was still there, sitting, holding his leg. He looked up when he saw her. "You're alive," he said. "So are you," she replied. He tried to smile. "I thought the ship was done. It's hurt, but not dead." He nodded. "What now?" She handed him the data chip. You need to get this to Earth, fast. He looked at it. I can't fly a ship, and mine was destroyed when I landed. She pointed to the Aesir's back. There's a scout pod, small, fast, can jump to warp. It's meant for escape. I want you to take it. He shook his head. What about you? I'm staying. You can't fight them alone. I don't have to win, she said. I just have to last, long enough for someone to listen. Jason looked at the broken Titan, then at the sky. They'll kill you. Maybe, she said. But if I don't try, everyone dies. He didn't speak for a long time. Then he took the chip and put it in his pocket. Thank you, he said. She turned and walked back to the Aesir. She opened a panel on the side and pulled out the scout pod. It unfolded like a metal insect, small and sharp, with a single seat. I'll launch it from the South Ridge, she said. Less chance they'll see it. Together, they helped Jason into the pod. She checked the fuel, the nav system, the warp drive. Set course for Earth, she said. Don't stop. Don't answer any signals. If it's not Terran command, it's not human. He nodded. What's the pod's name? She looked at it. It doesn't have one. He smiled. Then I'll call it Hope. She almost smiled back. But not quite. Go, she said. The pod's engine fired. It lifted off, flying low over the red dust. Elena watched until it was a dot in the sky. Then it jumped to warp and was gone. She was alone. She climbed back into the Aesir. The seat felt heavier now. The pain in her body was worse. But she sat up straight. Core, she said. Activate Berserker mode. The machine answered. Warning! Berserker mode will burn all power. Systems will fail after combat. No return possible. I know. Do it. A deep sound filled the cockpit. The Aesir's core turned white-hot. Power surged through every wire, every weapon. The armor plates shifted, revealing hidden blades in the arms, spikes on the shoulders, a heavy hammer stored in the chest. Berserker mode was not meant to win. It was meant to kill as much as possible. Before dying, the Aesir stood. Its red eyes glowed like fire. Above, the clouds moved. The third dreadnought returned. It flew low, scanning the ground. It had seen the pod leave. But it did not chase. It knew the real threat was still here. Elena moved the Aesir forward. She didn't wait. She charged. The Titan ran, broken leg dragging, one arm swinging. The ground shook. The dreadnought fired, blue beams hitting the Aesir's chest. Armor melted. Alarms screamed. She kept going. When she was close, she jumped. The Aesir flew through the air, landing on top of the ship. She drove the hammer into the hull. Once. Twice. The metal cracked. The ship rolled, trying to throw her off. She held on. From her back, the last rail cannon fired, point blank into the bridge. The glass shattered. The ship tilted. Then it exploded. The Aesir was thrown back, crashing into a cliff. Half its body was gone. Smoke rose from the cockpit, but Elena was still alive. She looked up. More lights in the sky. 3 more dreadnoughts. Coming fast, she tried to move the Titan, but nothing worked. The core was failing. The link was weak. She opened the comms. One last pulse. This is Captain Elena Morris of the Aesir. The Cathar are back. They are coming to Earth. Jason Cole is on his way with the data. Trust him. Fight. Don't wait. Don't hide. She paused, then added, We were not weak. We were human, and that was enough. She sent the pulse. Then she took off her helmet. The air was cold, thin, but she breathed it in. She looked at the stars. One by one, the dreadnoughts entered orbit. She smiled. Come on, she whispered. I'm still here. The Aesir's last weapon powered up, a core bomb, built to destroy. Everything within 10 kilometers. It was meant for cities. Now, it would be used for 1 Titan and 3 ships. The countdown began. 5. She thought of Earth. of people walking in green fields, of children laughing. 4. She thought of Jason, flying through space, carrying the truth. 3. The dreadnoughts opened fire. 2. The Aesir's eyes burned red. 1. The explosion lit up the whole planet. On a ship near Mars, a weak signal was picked up. A voice. Broken. Strong. "The Cathar are back. Fight." Then silence. But the message was heard. Years passed. The stars did not change. The planets still turned. But the silence that once ruled the galaxy was broken. After the destruction of Orbital Forge X9 and the retreat of the Vathari fleet at Sirius, many systems began to rise. Colonies declared independence. Old trade routes reopened. Ships moved freely again. The fear that had hung over the galaxy for centuries began to fade like smoke in the wind. On Earth, life slowly returned to peace. Cities rebuilt. Farms grew. Green again. Children played in parks, not shelters. Schools taught history, not survival. President Laura Evans stayed in office, not as a war leader, but as a builder. She helped form the new alliance, humans, Zarn, Andar, and others, working together to keep the peace. But not everyone trusted it. Captain Paul Dawson stood on the bridge of the Titan, now docked in Earth's orbit. The ship had been repaired, upgraded, and renamed, the Guardian. It no longer hid. It watched. It protected. He looked at the star map on the screen. Red dots marked Vathari systems. Most were quiet. No fleets, no attacks. But some signals still came. Strange, weak, like whispers in the dark. "They're not gone," he said to Amy Foster, who now served as commander of the Alliance fleet. "They're just waiting." Amy nodded. "Maybe. Or maybe they're just trying to survive like everyone else." Dawson didn't answer. He had seen too much to believe in easy peace. Below, on the surface, people celebrated the anniversary of the Forge's fall. Parades filled the streets. Speeches were made. Statues were raised, not of kings or gods, but of ordinary people. Pete Morales, Lisa Tran, Greg Turner, and others who had fought and died. Dawson avoided the events. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a soldier who hadn't finished his duty. One night, Rick Malone called him to the sensor room. "You need to see this," Rick said. On the screen was a weak signal, picked up near the edge of Vathari, space. Not a war message, not a fleet movement. It was a distress call. In broken English, a voice said, "This is Shuttle V7. We are civilian. We were attacked. Only 3 alive. Please, help." The signal came from near the old prison moon, K-13. Dawson frowned. Why would civilians be there? "Maybe refugees," Amy said. "Or defectors. Or a trap," Dawson replied. They argued for hours. Some wanted to send a drone. Some said to ignore it. Amy believed they should help. "If we don't help now," she said, "we become like them." Finally, Dawson agreed. The Titan launched. It moved slow, shields up, weapons ready. The prison moon was a dead rock, once used to hold rebels and enemies. Now it was abandoned. On the records, at least. As they got closer, sensors picked up wreckage, small ships, torn apart, bodies in suits floating in silence. Then a shuttle, damaged, spinning slowly, appeared near the moon's shadow. The Titan pulled it in. Inside, 3 Vathari civilians waited, 2 women and a young boy. They were weak, scared. One had a broken arm. They spoke through a translator. They said they were from a colony that had left the Dominion. They tried to escape. Vathari warships attacked. Most died. They hid in the shuttle and sent the signal. Dawson watched them from the medbay. The boy looked at him with wide eyes. "Are you the one they fear?" he asked. Dawson knelt. "I'm..." Just a captain. They say your ship broke the sky, the boy said. They say you made the stars shake. Dawson didn't smile, but something inside him softened. The crew treated the survivors. Doctors healed them. Cooks gave them food. For the first time, humans and Vathari sat together, not as enemies, but as people. Then the truth came. Rick found a data chip in the shuttle's console. It was hidden, encrypted. When decoded, it showed a message from a Vathari warlord named Malkor, a hardliner who refused to accept the Dominion's fall. The weak must be punished. The traitors must die. The human ship must burn. The attack on the shuttle was not random. It was a test, a lure. Malkor wanted the Titan to come. He wanted to destroy it, to prove the Vathari were still strong. Dawson read the file in silence. Amy stood beside him. He's out there, and he won't stop. Then we stop him, Dawson said. They did not wait. The Titan, joined by 2 Zarn cruisers and an Andar drone carrier, jumped to the last known location of Malkor's fleet, a hidden base inside a Dead Star shell. The battle was short, brutal. Malkor's ships were fast, but uncoordinated. They fought with rage, not skill. The Titan fired once. A rail slug tore through the command ship's core. Explosions followed. The base collapsed. Malkor did not survive. When the fleet returned, the survivors, the Vathari civilians, were given safe passage to a neutral world. The boy turned to Dawson before he left. "Thank you," he said. Dawson placed a hand on his shoulder. "Stay safe. Build something better." Years went by. The Titan remained in orbit, a silent guard. Dawson grew older. His hair turned gray. He walked slower, but he still stood watch. One day, he stood on the observation deck, looking at Earth. Blue. Green. Alive. Amy joined him. "We did it, didn't we?" "We held the line," he said. "That's all we ever tried to do." "Some say you saved the galaxy," she said. "No," he said. "We all did. One ship, one act, one choice at a time." He looked up at the stars. No one had dared to challenge the Vathari until humanity sent a battleship best. And it did not fight for power. It fought for peace. And in the end, that was its greatest weapon. Elena Morris sat in the control seat of the Aesir, her hands gripping the arms of the chair. The warning light on the main screen blinked red. Incoming signal detected. Origin. Deep space. Destination. Multiple Terran colonies. She ran a quick scan. The signal was not a message. It was a beacon, a call, and it had already been answered. 3 blips appeared on the radar, then 6, then 12. They were coming from beyond the edge of the solar system, moving fast. No warp trail, no heat signature until they were close. Just like the Cathar. "How long?" she asked the core. "First ship will reach orbit in 4 hours. Fleet estimated at 12 vessels. Size and class match, Cathar dreadnoughts." 4 hours. Not enough time. The Azure was strong, but it was one machine. Even at full power, it could not fight a whole fleet alone. She tried to open a channel to Earth. Static. She tried Mars. Jupiter relay. Nothing. The Cathar were blocking all signals. Only military-grade pulses could get through. And those needed time. She looked at the ruined colony dome through the external camera. The ground still smoked where the tunnel had collapsed. Paul Griggs was gone. But whatever he had become was still down there. And the people in the tubes, they were not dead. Not yet. But they were not human either. She had to move. "Prepare for combat mode," she said. The Aesir responded at once. Armor plates shifted, covering weak spots. Rail cannons charged. The plasma lance on its back powered up with a low hum. The machine was built for war, and it knew it. But Elena knew something else. She could not just fight. She had to warn Earth. She opened the emergency pulse system. It was old tech, built to send one short message through jamming. It would drain power, slow the Aesir, but it was the only way. She typed the message. Cathar fleet incoming, 12 ships, estimated arrival 4 hours. Proxima B lost. Repeat, Cathar are back. She added Jason Cole's name as the source, to give it weight. Then she sent it. The pulse fired into space, a narrow beam aimed at the inner planets. It would take 20 minutes to reach Mars, longer to reach Earth. Now all she could do was wait and fight. She moved the Aesir toward the colony dome. If the Cathar were using it as a base, she had to destroy it. No more hosts. No more spreading. As she approached, the ground cracked open again. Not from the same spot. From 5 places. Black smoke rose. Then shapes climbed out. They were not fully Cathar, not fully human. They moved on long limbs, their bodies twisted, eyes glowing red. Some wore torn clothes. Others had weapons fused to their arms. The converted. They saw the Aesir and stopped. Then, as one, they turned and ran at it. Elena didn't wait. She fired the left rail cannon. A bright streak cut through the air. The first 3 converted, exploded into pieces. The shockwave knocked down the rest, but they got up. More came from the tunnels, dozens, then hundreds. She switched to rapid fire. The cannons boomed again and again. Dust and fire filled the air. Bodies flew. But still they came. They don't feel pain, she said. They don't stop. Tactical suggestion. Target the beacon. If it is destroyed, control may be lost. She looked at the dome. The pillar was underground, but its power source had to be near the surface. She aimed the Aesir's foot lasers at the dome's power unit, the place where the tunnel had started. 2 quick bursts. The unit exploded. Underground, the light flickered. The converted slowed. Some fell. Others twitched like they were fighting something inside. But then, a new sound. A deep hum from the sky. Elena looked up. A ship broke through. The clouds. It was huge. Longer than a city block. Black, with jagged edges. No windows, no lights. It moved without sound, hanging in the air like a shadow. A Cathar dreadnought. And it was not alone. 2 more appeared behind it. They circled once, then opened fire. Blue beams shot down, hitting the Aesir's back. The armor cracked. Alarms rang inside the cockpit. "Shield at 60%, the Corps said. Elena fired back. The rail cannons hit the lead ship, but the beams just bounced off. "Armor too strong," she said. "Need a weak spot." She remembered the old files. The Cathar ships had one soft point, the core, deep inside, near the front. But to hit it, she needed to get close. Too close. The dreadnoughts fired again. One beam hit the Aesir's leg. Metal melted. The machine fell to one knee. Elena gritted her teeth. "Not today." She activated the thrusters. The Aesir jumped, using its good leg and the blast from its back engines to launch forward. It flew through the air, straight at the lead ship. The Cathar tried to pull away, but the Aesir was fast. It grabbed the ship with both hands, holding on as they spun. "Plasma lance full power," she said. The weapon on its back fired, a white-hot blade shooting out. Elena drove it into the front of the ship. The dreadnought shook. Black smoke poured from the wound. Then a massive explosion. The Aesir was thrown back, crashing into the ground hard. Its right arm broke off. The cockpit cracked, but the ship was dead. 1 down, 2 more, and more converted crawling from the tunnels. Elena tried to stand, but the Aesir wouldn't respond. Systems were failing. Power at 30%, then a new signal. Weak, broken, but human. She opened it. "This is Jason Cole. If you can hear this. I'm on Proxima B. I saw what happened." Her heart jumped. "Jason, where are you?" "Underground. Old maintenance tunnel. They don't know I'm here. I have data. The fleet. Their plan. Everything. She checked the map. There was a network of old tunnels under the colony, built before the Cathar came. If he was there, he might be safe. But how to reach him? The Aesir couldn't move well. One leg was damaged, one arm gone, but it still had power, still had weapons. She made a choice. She opened the emergency hatch and climbed out. The air was cold, the sky dark with smoke. She ran, her suit protecting her from the cold and radiation. She reached the tunnel entrance and went in. It was narrow, dark, filled with old pipes. She moved fast, gun in hand. After 10 minutes, she saw light. Jason was there, sitting behind a broken console. He looked tired, dirty, but alive. "You came," he said. "You sent the signal," she said. "Why didn't you answer my pulse?" "No power down here. I used a hand unit. Took hours to charge." He handed her a small chip. "This has everything. The Cathar plan, their weak points, how they control the converted, how to stop the beacon." She took it. "You did good," he smiled weakly. "I just didn't want to die doing nothing." Outside, the ground shook. Another dreadnought fired. Elena looked at the tunnel ceiling. "We have to go. I can't move fast. I hurt my leg." She didn't hesitate. She picked him up and carried him. Back on the surface, the Aesir was still down, but it could fire. She laid Jason behind a rock. "Stay here." Then she climbed back into the cockpit. Systems flickered. Power at 20%, she inserted. The chip. Data filled the screen. There it was. The Cathar core frequency, and a way to disrupt it. If she could hit the second dreadnought with a pulse at that frequency, it might shut down. But she had one shot. She aimed the rail cannon, not at the ship, but at the ground near it. She loaded a special round, one that would explode and send the pulse into the air. "Firing in 3, she said. The cannon fired. The shell hit the ground. A flash. A wave of energy spread out. The dreadnought shook. Its lights went out. It tilted, then crashed into the colony dome. The third ship pulled back. For the first time, the Cathar were retreating, but Elena knew it wasn't over. She looked at the stars. More ships were coming, and Earth had not answered. The Aesir moved through space like a shadow. Its thrusters burned low, hiding its trail. Elena Morris sat in the control seat, her mind linked to the machine. She felt every vibration, every shift in power. The Titan was alive, and she was its voice. 52 years had passed since she last saw battle. The war with the Cathar had ended, or so everyone thought. She had been put into stasis, told that if the machines ever woke, it would be because the fight was not over. She never believed she would open her eyes again. But here she was. The journey from Europa to Proxima B would take 4 days. The Aesir could not jump like modern ships. It did not use warp drives. It was built for power, not speed. It pushed forward on raw force, riding a wave of plasma through the dark. Elena spent the first day checking systems, weapons, armor, fuel. Most were in good shape. The foundries on Europa had kept the Titan maintained even in sleep, but time had taken its toll. One of the rail cannons had a crack in the barrel. The left leg thruster was sluggish. She rerouted power to keep it stable. She also tried to reach Jason Cole, the man who had sent the signal, but no reply came. The comms showed his last known location, the lunar relay station. She sent a short message. "Titan is active, en route to Proxima. Stand by." She did not expect an answer. As the Aesir flew on, she looked at the stars. They were the same. Earth was a tiny dot behind her. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, all still there. But the silence of space felt heavier now, darker, like something was watching. On the second day, she ran a memory scan. The Aesir's core stored old battle data. She pulled up the final fight. The Battle of Titan's Ring. She saw it again. The Cathar fleet emerging from behind Saturn, their ships shaped like broken teeth. The human fleet outnumbered, outgunned. The Azir charging forward, tearing through 3 enemy cruisers in one run. She remembered the screams on the comms, the captain of the Valkyrie begging for help, the way the Cathar ships just kept coming, and then the final blow. The Azir firing its core lance into the enemy flagship. The explosion. The silence. She shut it off. Too much. She slept in short bursts. The suit fed her nutrients, kept her awake. But dreams came. Dreams of fire. Of voices calling her name. Of a child's hand reaching out from a ruined dome. She woke each time, heart pounding. On the 3rd day, the Aesir passed Mars. The red planet hung in the sky, its canyons and deserts still scarred from the war. Old wreckage floated in orbit, ships that never made it home. Elena changed course slightly. There was a weapons depot on the far side of Phobos, a moon of Mars. It was automated, but if it still worked, she could reload. She guided the Titan into orbit. The depot's sensors picked her up. A robotic voice crackled on the comms. Unknown vessel, identify. This is Captain Elena Morris, pilot of the Aesir, requesting resupply. Long silence. Then, identity confirmed. Access. Granted. The depot opened. Arms reached out, loading fresh ammo into the Aesir's racks. New shielding gel was pumped into the outer plates. A message appeared on her screen. Godspeed, Captain. We never thought we'd see you again. She didn't reply, but for the first time in days, she felt less alone as the Aesir left. Mars behind, she checked the final stretch. Proxima B was close now. One more day. But something was wrong. She pulled up the last known data from the colony. The final signal had not been a normal ping. It had been cut off mid-transmission, and before it died, it carried a strange frequency. Low, pulsing, not human. She ran a scan. The signal matched no known Terran tech, but it was similar to Cathar comms from the war. Her hands tightened on the controls. If the Cathar were on, Proxima B, then Jason Cole might already be dead. She pushed the Aesir harder. Thrusters flared. The machine groaned under the strain, but it moved faster. On the 4th day, she entered the Proxima system. The planet came into view. A red ball wrapped in thin clouds. No moons, no ships in orbit. Just silence. She scanned the surface. The main colony dome was intact. No fire, no damage, but no life signs either. Too clean. She landed the Aesir 2 kilometers from the dome. The Titan touched down with a heavy thud, snow and dust flying. Its legs locked into place. Sensors spread out, scanning for movement, heat, signals. Nothing. Elena opened the comms. This is Captain Elena Morris of the Aesir. If anyone is alive, respond now. Only static. She stepped out of the control seat and moved to the exit hatch. The Aesir had a small scout pod built into its chest. She would go alone. The machine was too big to move quietly. The pod dropped to the ground. She drove toward the dome, helmet on, gun ready. As she got closer, she saw footprints in the dust, but not human. The prints were long, with 3 toes, spaced too far apart. They led into a crack in the ground near the power unit. She stopped the pod and got out. The air was cold. Her breath fogged the helmet. She followed the tracks. They went down a slope into a tunnel. The entrance was new, not on any map. She turned on her light. The beam cut through the dark. The walls were smooth like they had been melted, not dug. Something had burned its way underground. She went deeper. The tunnel opened into a large chamber. Machines lined. The walls. Alien tech. Black and jagged. In the center, a tall pillar pulsed with blue light. Wires ran from it into the floor. She stepped closer. Then she saw them. Bodies. Suspended in glass tubes. Men, women, children from the colony. Their eyes were open, but they did not move. Thin wires ran into their skulls. She checked one. Still alive. Heart beating. But brain activity was strange. Not human. Something else was inside. A noise behind her. She turned fast, gun up. A man stood there, in a torn Terran uniform. His face was pale. His eyes were black. "You shouldn't have come," he said. His voice was not his own. It echoed like many voices speaking at once. "Who are you?" Elena asked. "I was Paul Griggs, commander of this post. Now I am more." She backed away. "What did you do to them?" "We saved them, upgraded them. The Cathar do not destroy. They evolve." She raised her gun. "You're not human." He smiled. "You are weak, slow, emotional. We offer strength, but you will resist. Like always." She fired. The shot hit his chest. He didn't fall. He didn't bleed. He just looked down, then back at her. "You cannot stop what is coming." She ran. Behind her, the chamber lit up. The pillar flared. The bodies in the tubes twitched. She reached the pod and fired the engine. It shot forward as the ground shook. The tunnel collapsed behind her. She didn't stop until she reached the Azier. She climbed back into the control seat, heart racing. "We have a problem," she said. The core responded. "Enemy presence confirmed. Cathar tech detected. Threat level, extreme." She looked at the dome, now dark against the red sky. "They're already here." Then the sensors screamed. A signal had been sent. Not from the colony, from deep space. And something was answering. Ships were coming. The war was not over. It had just begun again. The year was 2347. The sky above the moon was dark, filled with stars that never blinked. Far away, past Mars and Jupiter, a frozen moon named Europa sat quietly in the shadow of Jupiter. Under its thick ice, something waited, something big, on the moon. In a small control room built into a crater, Jason Cole sat alone. He was a lieutenant in the Terran Space Watch, a small group that monitored deep space signals. His job was simple. Check the pings from human colonies. Make sure they were still alive, still talking. Most days it was boring. Today, it felt wrong. 3 days ago, the colony on Proxima B had stopped sending its daily signal. Proxima B was a small world, red and dusty, with thin air and cold nights. It had only 500 people, farmers, scientists, and their families. They grew food, studied the soil, and sent reports back to Earth. They always checked in. Always. But not this time. Jason leaned forward in his chair, eyes on the screen. He tapped the keyboard. "Run full diagnostic on Proxima Link." The computer beeped. Red letters flashed. No signal detected. Line intact. No interference. That meant the problem wasn't on his end. The system was fine. The colony's side was silent. He rubbed his eyes. Maybe it was a storm. Maybe the antenna got buried in red dust. He had seen it happen before. But 3 days? That was too long. He opened a file on his screen. It showed a photo of Proxima B's main dome, taken just a week ago. People walked outside in light suits. Children played near a greenhouse. Smoke rose from the power unit. Life was normal. Now, nothing. He thought about calling Earth Command, but he knew what they would say. "Don't panic. Wait for the next ping. Could be a glitch." They had said that when the Mars outposts went quiet during the Cathar War, by the time they acted, it was too late. Jason had been a kid then. He remembered the news feeds, cities burning, ships falling from the sky, the silence that came after. Humanity had won, but at a terrible cost. Billions died. The war machines, Built to fight the Cathar were too powerful, too destructive. After the war, most were shut down. Some were destroyed. Others were hidden. One of them was buried under the ice of Europa. Its name was the Aesir, a war titan, a machine the size of a skyscraper, built to crush alien ships and level cities. It had fought in the final battle near Saturn. When the war ended, it was taken apart, sealed, and put to sleep. Only a few knew it still existed. Jason's grandfather had helped build it. He pulled up an old file from a hidden folder. The title read Titan Protocol Sigma. He had found it by accident while sorting through old military records. It said that if all human forces failed and no help was coming, the Aesir could be awakened, but only by someone with the right blood and the right code. He looked at his hand. His grandfather's ring was still on his finger, a simple silver band with a small chip inside. It had been passed down for years. His dad said it was just a keepsake. Jason knew better. He stared at the blank screen. Proxima B was still silent. He took a deep breath and typed a command into the system. It asked for biometric scan. He placed his hand on the pad. The ring touched the metal. A light turned green. Access granted, the computer said. A new screen opened. It showed a map of the solar system. A red dot blinked on Europa. Another on Proxima B. A line connected them. He typed the message. Proxima B silent. Suspected breach. Invoke Titan Protocol Sigma. He paused. This was not a small thing. Waking the Aesir could start a panic. Earth Command might call it treason. But if the Cathar were back and no one did anything, then everyone would die. He pressed send. A pulse fired from the moon's surface, a narrow beam of light shooting into space. It traveled fast, faster than any ship, moving toward Jupiter, toward Europa. Under the ice, deep in a vault made of steel and rock, a machine felt the signal. Its core, cold for over 50 years, gave a tiny spark. Then another. Lights flickered. In the dark, a voice, silent for decades, whispered in the empty chamber. Signal received. Gears turned. Wires hummed. Power flowed through frozen circuits. The air filled with a low vibration, like a heartbeat waking up. In the center of the room, a glass tube cracked open. Blue liquid drained away. Inside, a woman floated, her body wrapped in a tight suit, wires connected to her head and chest. Her name was Elena Morris. Captain. Pilot. The last one who could control the Aesir. Her eyes opened. For a moment, she didn't move, didn't breathe. Then her chest rose. Her fingers twitched. A gasp escaped her lips. She was alive. The voice spoke again inside her mind. Systems online. Awakening sequence complete. You have been in stasis for 52 years, 7 months, and 3 days. Elena sat up slowly. The glass tube opened. Cold air hit her skin. She fell to her knees, shaking. Her muscles didn't want to work. Her head pounded. What happened? She asked, voice weak. You were preserved. The war ended. The Titan was deactivated. Then why am I awake? Distress signal from Proxima B. Activation code used. Command authority confirmed. She looked around. The room was the same. The Aesir stood in the center, tall and dark, its armor scarred from old battles. Its eyes, 2 red lenses, were off. She pulled herself up using a metal rail. Every step hurt. But she kept going. She had trained for this. Even in sleep, her mind had rehearsed the steps. She reached the spine ladder and climbed. Each rung was familiar. She reached the top and entered the control chamber. The pilot seat was waiting. She sat down. The harness closed around her. Needles slid into her neck and back, connecting her mind to the machine. Link me, she said. The core glowed red. Data flooded her vision. Power levels, weapon status, damage reports. Most systems were green. The Aesir was ready. "Where is the threat?" she asked. "Unknown. Signal came from Terran Lieutenant Jason Cole. He claims Proxima B is compromised." Elena closed her eyes. She remembered the Cathar. Tall, dark, moving without sound. Their ships like shadows. They had destroyed cities in minutes. They did not speak. They did not ask for surrender. They just took. If they were back, then humanity was in danger. She opened her eyes. "Then we go." The Aesir roared to life. Thrusters fired. The floor shook. Ice cracked above as the machine stood, its massive frame breaking through layers of frozen water and rock. Snow fell as the Titan stepped forward. Its red eyes lit up. It looked at the sky. Jupiter hung above, huge and striped. Elena gripped the controls. "Let's see what's out there." The Wazer lifted off, its thrusters burning blue. It rose through the thin atmosphere and into space behind it. The moon was quiet again, but the war was not over. Far away on Proxima B, the red dust moved. Something under the ground began to hum. A signal had been sent, not from the colony, from below, and it was answered.